Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel for another video. Many of us in this time have been doing a lot of self-reflection and thus coming up with a lot of ideas and realizing that there are things that we want to change in our life. Whether it's getting out of certain habits that we have that we are noticing are bad ones, or just wanting to build and form new ones to help you get closer to your goals and ideal life. This video we're going to be talking about not only how to build lasting habits, also what it takes to maintain them, as well as break down ones that are bad and hindering our progress with our new habits we'd like to form. Someone who regularly helps people build and create a life that they're proud of, help them feel more joy, I find that it is very crucial to start at the root of the issue, which is creating a foundation that ultimately helps you succeed. Without further ado, let's get into my 3 tips on how to build and break lasting habits. To preface all 3 of these tips, I need to say that this is all rooted in the concept of reparenting. I originally heard of this concept from the holistic psychologist on Instagram. Dr. Nicole is amazing explaining this concept. If you're looking for more information on that, I definitely recommend checking out her Instagram profile. Through her teachings, I was actually able to understand how important it is to be working from a stable foundation, which all comes from your belief systems. Where do we get our belief systems? Now, normally they're inherited or passed down from our parents, the community that we were raised in, just the overall environment that we grew up in. That was the kind of belief systems that we were taught because that was what we were around. The concept of reparenting understands that not everybody experienced the perfect childhood with great, nurturing, loving parents all the time. I mean, honestly, I don't think anybody out there experienced 100% perfect childhood experience. It's important to note how that affects you to this day and how that affects your belief systems, because belief systems, while they may seem pretty concrete, actually very adaptable, and you by nature are very adaptable. You're meant to change and to grow and to learn and understand new things and new ways of being. This is also shown in science with neuroplasticity and that whole concept, so really look into it if you want more information on it. I'm not the person for that, but there are plenty of resources to help you understand that you are a very transformable person, and even the things that feel like will never change about you, you can change them. That being said, all of this is going to be rooted in reparenting. It essentially is requiring you to take on the role of a parent and the inner child within you. Like a literal parent-child relationship or student-teacher, however you want to look at it, you practice the duality of always be open to learning and to accepting new kind of ways of being and opportunities and the potential of all. And then there's the other side of, having the wisdom, having the knowing, and having kind of the dedication and consistency and persistence that it takes to actually build and create something, which is more of an adult kind of characteristic. So you balance those 2 sides of yourself, but once again, duality is kind of the baseline for everything in this life, finding balance. So that we've covered that, let's talk about the actual tips, starting with an example of, let's say I want to start writing again. With this being rooted in reparenting, we would look at the situation as a child parent kind of conversation. So I want to start writing again. So I'm like a child. I say, I have this desire, I have this feeling of potential with this given topic, and I want to pursue it. So as a parent, you would say, okay, why? Like, what makes you feel that way? That's your step 1, is defining your why, because a parent would ask why. They want to know your motives. They want to help you define your motives, because a parent knows that that is the kind of foundation that helps you keep coming back to something. How you can stay persistent and dedicated to things because you know why you're doing it. Finding your why actually helps you stabilize your goal, and that is something that a parent knows, but that's a conversation that you have with your inner child. So this is something that you can do out loud, like literally say this to yourself when you're alone, or with other people, whatever you want to do, but it can be an inner conversation during meditation. This can be something that you journal out and kind of have this conversation with yourself. Wherever you're at and wherever you can kind of meet yourself and kind of talk to yourself, it's the way you go about coaching yourself through building and breaking these habits. It's important to ask these questions because as a child, you naturally want to express yourself. You want to get to the bottom of things. You want to understand why. As a healthy parental authority figure in your own life, you can kind of gauge your own interest, and like I said, just show interest in your own self. After that's all established, step 2 would be to provide a foundation for you to actually succeed and pursue your goals. Healthy, compassionate, loving parent or person to help you make time in your schedule and make time with your energy to actually pursue this habit, this goal that you want to start building and forming. If you want to form a good habit, you're going to have to provide yourself with the opportunity to do so. A child wants to start a sport, they talk with the parent, they figure out why they want to, but then they have to free up time within their schedule. They have to make accommodations for it to make sure that, you know, you're going to be able to do the thing that you want to do, the goal you want to pursue. If you don't make time for yourself, just adding more on top of your already full plate, making it so you don't have room to do the things that you want to do. So it's that time to take responsibility for your own time and your own energy and start sorting things out like a parent would do for you, you know? If you have to push back your snack time a little bit just so you can make it to your soccer practice, you know, that's what you have to do. You consider your goals and these habits that you want to create in your life as, you know, things to accommodate for, you start accommodating for them and you start advocating for your own happiness in your schedule. So remember to be realistic but flexible. You know your energy levels, know how long it takes for you to recoup, get to know yourself and know how much of yourself that you can put into these certain situations, and don't try to push yourself too hard or even too little, because honestly only you know what you're capable of, but if you're not paying attention, you're not going to know how to handle the situation. Going back to the concept of duality, this is all about balance, balancing between being open and being childlike. This is being more practical and more critical of like your time and stuff like that. I mean, there is a balance that has to be made, but if you're too rigid on yourself and too mean to yourself, you know, that's not going to be encouraging for you. You need compassion, you need gentleness. That will balance out the child side of you who does need that encouragement. You know, we all need kind words, we all need compassion. That's a basic human necessity. A healthy parent is also assertive too. They know how to state boundaries and say, you know, this is why you're doing it, there's actual a reason behind it. Don't push you to the point where you feel like you have no other option. So like I said, remain flexible but realistic. Last but not least is step 3, which is to initiate and nurture your habits, nurture your goals. Once you start something, be your own cheerleader, be your own advocate, root for yourself, because if you aren't, you know, who's going to? You can't expect any other person to try to change your life for you. That's where you take responsibility for your own power. You put it in your own hands and you say, I'm going to be compassionate, I'm going to be gentle, I'm going to be nurturing, I'm going to be assertive. You know, I didn't have that growing up, I didn't know that, but I can teach myself that. And that's the beauty behind reparenting and about building and breaking habits, and about being this malleable energy source that, you know, is being human. I mean, all of it comes back to the idea that if you nurture and love yourself, you're going to make it work. You'll learn how to do what you need to do. Get mean or discouraged with yourself. I mean, you're new. You wouldn't yell at your kid when they played soccer for the first time and they kicked the ball in the other net. I mean, they don't know any better. They're learning, they're going through the process. And even if you've done it before, if you're getting back into a new habit, you still should be kind to yourself, because, you know, we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. And the more that you try to tell yourself that you have to be perfect, you know, you're creating more of hardship throughout your journey, because you're beating yourself up about things that really aren't that serious. You know, you're just learning and you have your whole life to learn how to do anything. Actually seen this a lot in people when it comes to diets. People come from a place of wanting to just change their body, change their life. They hate how they look, so they go and try to do just that, try to feel better about themselves and look better. But it's rooted in a place that is so critical of self and so just honestly ruthless and just unkind in general, that they don't make it a lasting change. They end up going back to their old ways and hating themselves even more for that. And that comes from the place of not really having a good why, not really having a good intention behind what you're doing. And that's why it's so important to kind of define yourself and to nurture yourself along the way, because you're not going to get there right away. I mean, any lasting change, anything that's worth anything, it's going to take time. time. But it will get easier. Anytime you make the choice to stick with your habit and to keep, being compassionate and even choosing to be kind with your self-talk, that will get easier. It will become more repetitive, and it will become, just like I said, easier for you to decide to take that action instead of a negative one. So that's the neuroplasticity coming into play here, about your brain just deciding to take a different route. Very cool, but I just was really happy to share this message with you guys, because honestly, it's not as hard as you think to build and break lasting habits. It really can be done, and you can do it just as much as I can. So I hope this helped you guys. If it did, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel also if you are new here. I love to make new friends in this community, so make sure you're following me also on my other social medias down below. But I will see you guys in a later video. Bye for now.